Hi class, this section is section 5-3 again. We're going to continue using synthetic division. We're going to have one new thing with this lesson, and that is we have a coefficient in front of our x term in our divisor. Yesterday you divided things by like x minus 3 or x plus 5, something like that. We always had a positive 1 in front of our x's. Now in this lesson we're going to have a coefficient other than 1 in front of our x variable. So that's what we have going on in this lesson. So because we know how to divide with the coefficient of 1 in front of our x, what our strategy is going to be here, class, is we're going to divide everything by 2. Every single term you see, divide it by 2. And once we do that, now we will get a 1 in front of our coefficient of x as a then we will get a 1 as our coefficient for x, and then we'll use synthetic division just like we did yesterday. So now we have 4x cubed. 4x cubed plus 6x squared minus 2x minus 3 divided by x minus a half. So as you can see, now we have a positive 1 in front of our x. And now we can use synthetic division just as we did yesterday. So we're going to get our division bar. We're going to have a positive 1/2 out here because it's always the opposite. And then we bring down our coefficients. 4x cubed, 6x squared, a negative 2x's, and a negative 3. And now we do our algorithm where we bring down the 4 and then we alternate multiplying and adding. So half of 4 is 2. So 2 goes there. Add 6 and 2 and get 8. Multiply 8 times a half. Half of 8 is 4. I don't know what I was doing writing this x right there, sorry. A negative 2 plus 4 is a positive 2. And 2 times a half is 1. And adding up, a negative 3 plus 1, we get a positive 2. Or a negative 2. Now this, class, is our remainder. So there's two new things in this lesson as compared to yesterday's lesson. The first thing is to divide everything by 2 in order to get a positive 1 as our coefficient in front of x. And the other thing that is new is you have to do something with this remainder. This remainder you have to multiply by the number you first divided by. This might sound confusing, but all it means, class, is you first divided everything by 2. So your remainder on every single problem on these ones, you have to multiply the remainder by that number. Only the remainder. So multiply everything by 2. So I'm going to put times 2 right here. So our numbers here represent the coefficients for one power down on the highest power of x. The highest power of x is x to the third. So x squared, there are 4 of them because that 4 represents how many x squared terms there are. So 4x squared plus 8x plus 2 with the remainder of a negative 4. We have to multiply by the number we first divided by, which the number is 2. So negative 2 times 2 is a negative 4. So we subtract 4 and we put it over our divisor of our first divisor, which is this one here, 2x minus 1. Our original divisor is 2x minus 1, so we're going to put our remainder over that, 2x minus 1. So our quotient here, 4x squared plus 8x plus 2 minus 4 over 2x minus 1. And that is how this lesson is done. Very similar to yesterday with two differences. The first difference is you need to multiply everything, you need to divide everything by the coefficient in front of x. The other new thing is once you get your remainder, you have to multiply it by the number you first started off dividing by. So let's practice that a few more times today. Here we get one. Again, we have a 2 in front of our x's in front of our coefficient for our divisor, so we have to divide everything by 2. So now it's 2x squared minus an x plus 3 divided by x minus 3/2. Make our division bar, put a positive 3/2 out in front, bring down our coefficients of 2, -1, and 3. Bring down the 2. And then multiply. 2 times 3 halves is 6 halves, and 6 halves is the same thing as 3. Now we're going to add. A -1 plus 3 is 2. Once again, I get a 2 times 3 halves, and I get 6 halves, and 6 halves is the same thing as 3. And then I add, and I get a remainder of 6. So the 6 is our remainder. What's so important is that we have to multiply by the number we first start off dividing by. So we divided everything by 2 right away, so we have to multiply everything by 2. Okay, our highest power of x is x squared. So this 2 represents x to the first. 2x to the first plus 2 plus a remainder of 12, because 6 times 2 is 12, over our divisor. Our original divisor is 2x minus 3. 2x minus 3. Let's try number 3. Number 3, we're going to divide everything by the coefficient of 3. So then we would get 2x squared minus 1/3 x minus 7/3 divided by x plus 1/3. Alright, we make our division bar. We put a -1/3 out in front. And then we bring down our coefficients of 2, a -1/3, and a -7/3. We bring down the 2. And then we multiply to get a -2/3. And then we add. A -1/3 plus a -2/3 is a -3/3. And a -3/3 is the same thing as a -1. And then we multiply. A -1 times a -1/3 is a positive 1/3. And then a -7/3 plus 1/3 is a -6/3. And a -6/3 is the same thing as a -2. Whew! Now we have our remainder. Our remainder, we multiply by the number we first start off dividing by. We divided everything by 3. So we have to multiply our remainder by 3. So our coefficients from x squared go to x to the first. 2x to the first minus 1 with the remainder of a -6 over our original divisor, which is 3x plus 1. 3x plus 1. There's our quotient for problem number 3. So what I want you guys to do now is I want you guys to try problem number 4 all on your own. Be careful that you have placeholders if you don't have all of your terms in descending order. Put in a placeholder. So pause the video, try it on your own. You should have divided everything by 2 right away to get 4x to the 4th minus 2x squared plus 1/2 x plus 2 divided by x plus 1/2. So we're going to have a divisor of a -1/2 outside my division bar. And then you have 4x to the 4ths, 0x cubes. Did you guys remember that placeholder? I hope you did. You have 0x cubes, a -2x's, a -2x squareds, a positive 1/2 x's, and a positive 2 for a constant term. So we bring down our first term, and then we multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. Multiply, half of 4 is 2, and a positive times negative is a -2. So 4 times -1/2 is a -2. Add them up, you get a -2. Multiply, you get a positive 1. Add, you get a -1. Multiply, you'd get a positive 1/2. 1/2 plus 1/2 is a whole, so we got 1. And 1 times a -1/2 is a -1/2. And 2 minus 1/2 is 1 1/2, or 3/2. Oofta. Here is our remainder. Our remainder we always multiply by the number we first start off dividing by, which is the number 2. Multiply both sides by 2. So our answer, this 4 represents the coefficient from 1 power down of x to the 4th, which is x cubed. So we have 4x cubes minus 2x squareds minus 1x plus 1 for a constant term, with a remainder of a positive 6 over 2, which is 6 divided by 2 is 3. So plus 3 over our divisor of 2x plus 1. 2x plus 1. There's our quotient, and that is how we do synthetic division with a coefficient other than 1 in front of my divisor. What we're going to do, class, is we're going to do problems number 5 and 6 in class tomorrow. So bring your notes tomorrow. We'll do number 5 and 6 together as a whole group activity. Let me know if you have any questions after doing number 5 and 6 tomorrow.